Book review alert in the Jingle, Jangle, Jungle. Keeping Time with the Jonestown Massacre by Joel Gion. I'm in a cool position to review this book because I am both a massive fan of the Jonestown Massacre, as you might know. I also don't know much about... Oh my god, I thought that was an airplane. It's a seagull. I also don't know much about them. I know a lot about their music, but generally I don't go in and try to figure out every detail of the bands that I like. I like their music. Generally, you learn about the people, and it's kind of eh. Jonestown Massacre really is no exception to that. They're people. Joel has a thing where he's talking in his book, spoiler. I think he's hanging out with the Jesus Mary chain, and actually, this is a really good story. You got to read the book. But anyway, he's hanging out with the Jesus Mary chain backstage, and he kind of just like, they're people too. I grew up working on movies and stuff like that, so I don't have any stardom or anything. But anyway, Joel Gion is such a treasure for so many different reasons, and I might write my thoughts in a more academic essay type thing later, but suffice it to say, this book is very good whether or not you're a Jonestown Massacre fan. I am a Jonestown Massacre fan. I've also read everything Beatnik. I put this book right up beside Iceberg Slim's Pimp, William S. Burroughs' Junkie, Kerouac's On the Road, Neil Cassidy's First Third. It's right there. And the reason why it's right there, and I'll try not to get too flowery, because I'm not focusing on this as a Jonestown Massacre fan. I read this book as somebody who understood where Joel was coming from. Again, I grew up in the East Bay. I took Bart in to San Francisco all the time growing up to catch shows, check out the Beat Museum, see where the Grateful Dead used to hang out. So his childhood and mine sort of, similarities. His heroes and the people who grew up in his backyard in the 60s were the same heroes I had. He does something that a lot of these other authors do, and who knows if he's even conscious of this. He definitely is because of some parts of his book. But, I have a desk job, sort of. I mean, I'm at work right now, and this is not really a desk, but I live in the straight world, more or less, or at least I understand it. And what Joel and all of these other Jack Kerouacs, William S. Burroughs, all of these outlaws, what they're doing is sort of letting us in the orderly security over freedom world, even if that's not necessarily what we want. This artistic person, this person who craves freedom, it's sort of this, well, here's what it's actually like. And a lot of these books kind of glamorize that. Joel does not glamorize that. And that's what makes this book so great, in my opinion, on par with all of these classic biographies that I just mentioned. Joel is letting you into his world, his crazy world, great stories. It's such a good book. But at the same time, he's kind of, just like the Jonestown Massacre, completely unpretentious, when really they should be the most pretentious fucking thing you've ever seen. It's this weird contradiction of they are everything that pretentious bands try to be, but they themselves are not pretentious. It's really amazing. Again, I might write something a little more critical about this book, but you buy it. Please, go get it, read it. It's wonderful. Make people who aren't Jonestown Massacre fans read it, because it's really just a good book. And it happens to be from a Jonestown Massacre member. I'm going to try to write this. There's a lot of scribbles and shit on it, so I might mess this up. But I like this paragraph. I kind of sums up my thoughts a little. In a continuation of the literature produced by the Beatniks and the other godless bohemians that populate American folklore, Joel takes you to the edge of what it means and what it costs to live freely. The stories of drugs, tour life, homelessness, and otherwise inhabiting the subterranean worlds of San Francisco, Portland, and Southern Southern California, are not sensationalized in the least bit and leave the square world with something to think about. For me, I read this book and I was like, this sounds really cool. I could not live like this. And there are other people who could not hack it. There's some band members who could not hack it. And so I thank you, Joel, and I thank you, other creatives and freedom seekers, for having the balls to go out and put yourself on the line with nothing to fall back on, just the music, baby. Yeah, it's a great book. Joel, congratulations on writing a classic. I might even end up reading this again at some point. I never read books again, but I was thoroughly impressed. I don't really have anything negative to say about it other than the publisher fucked up in some ways, some typos and shit, but who cares? All right. I'll be back soon making videos once I'm back from Eastern Europe in this weird situation I'm in. But yeah, peace, guys.